Hello, Taurus. Thank you for tuning in to your general read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Modern Spellcasters Tarot by Melanie Marquis, illustrated by Scott Murphy. For the supportive oracle cards, I'm using the Angel Answers Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Okay. Already shuffled. I feel like there's going to be a whole line of cards for your side, which I'm wondering why that is. Big stop. Okay. Okay, let's see what we got here. Now, you have 6 cards above the top here. Now, they're telling me that's an overall energy. Alright, so let's pull these down just a little, just slightly. Now, how is that? Okay, alright, I'm getting how this is. Alright, so you have 6 cards explaining your overall energy for this time frame. I feel like we need to go through that first. Yes, okay. Now, you have the Strength card here, which normally comes through as a very positive, good thing. I'm feeling like this is what's holding the situation back. You're holding things together. You're standing strong. It may be causing some delay. So that's good to know for this. And I feel like we're going to reiterate this through the reading. I'm kind of wondering how complicated this is going to get, but that's okay. Now, you're standing strong. This seems to be holding the situation where it is and keeping it from moving forward. Or changing, I should say. Changing is the word they want to use. Okay. Go to these, go to these. Okay, so this seems to be where you are spiritually and standing. This seems to be like how you're starting off and where you feel you're standing spiritually, if this is making sense. And this might explain why you're standing so strong. The Two of Cups is kind of the spiritual sense. Like, you're very happy with the people involved. You want to keep the people involved close to you. The Mother of Pentacles, or Queen of Pentacles, I don't know, the way she is there, just looks like a mother to me. And that goes, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. It's just the energy. It's a very caring, looking out for others, helping other people who can't help themselves, making sure people are taken care of. Just like, whether it's large or small, just making sure you keep an eye out, keeping things going. If somebody can't help themselves, you'll help them. You'll do what you need to do. Now that's this energy right here. This is why you're standing strong and why you don't want something to fall through, because you care a lot. You're looking out for somebody else. At least one person. All right, now they're doing these cards separate, which is fine. I feel like this is going to be a progression. The Emperor, especially this Emperor in this deck, very... What do I want to say here? Very obvious about what he feels, what he thinks. Very strong. I mean, looking at this person in this chair, I mean, I understand, but you're not going to move this person easily. If this person doesn't want to move, it's going to be some work. And you might not even be able to do it. Now, this is like, I feel like this is representing you. Like, if you don't want to move, it's not going to be a small task to get you to move. And if you don't want to do it, they could try to drag you off your throne, but that's going to be quite the effort, because you're quite strong, and it's going to take a few people, at least. Now, I feel like this is talking about your strength, like you have a lot of it. Not only are you strong, not only is the strength kind of keeping you in this situation, but there's a lot there. So if you don't want to move forward or change, they want to use the word change. If you don't want to change, it's going to be hard to get you to. But I'm also noticing, and I've noticed this a lot with this card lately, there's a fire in the background. Change is coming. It is coming. It's just like, is it going to scorch you and hurt you, or are you going to get out of the chair and move forward before it has a chance to hurt you? Okay. Now, it's coming forward, and I get that. And I'm seeing the next phase that's coming through. This is like still the overall energy. I'm sorry this is taking so long. The Queen of Swords, which none of these cards I'm assigning a gender, clearly, because it's a general read. But for her, she's very smart. But this, I'm feeling like the whole situation, you know what has to happen next. I feel like you've put out that fire. You've squelched it for now, but the reason you squelched it is because you know something has to change. You've got it together enough to know what you have to do, but you may be holding there. I just feel like you're like, I'm not changing until I'm ready to change. I know I have to. I'm ready to do it when I'm ready, but when I'm ready. I feel like that's how it's coming through. When I'm ready. I'm not going to be forced into something. Well, I'm not going to be forced to change until I'm ready to. I realize I'm going to have to change, and I don't want to change, but I realize I'm going to have to. And I'll do that when I'm ready. I'm accepting it, I get that, but, you know, right now I'm going to sit in my throne. It may be cold and desolate here right now. Too bad. That's where I want to sit. That's where I'm going to sit. I feel it's strong. It's that strength. Like with all of us, our attributes can become our detriment at the same, like, for everybody. Every good quality has its bad attribute, if that makes sense. It's all depending on how the energy is flowing at the moment, and there's supposed to be rough times. It's supposed to happen like that, because that's how we learn. So I hope that doesn't come across as rude or anything, but I'm getting that really strong, like, you know that it's going to have to change. You got it together, you know what you're going to do, but you're not moving forward until you're ready to. You're not going to push me off this chair. I mean, I dare you to try. I'm going to smack you with my sword. Then you'll be sorry. It's a strong energy. And there's a good reason behind it. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of caring here. It makes sense to me why. This is what helps when you finally let go and move forward. 3 of Wands. All right, so it's kind of like you're handling this situation kind of like a relationship. I don't feel like it's a romantic relationship, but it's just whatever the situation is. There's people involved, and you care for them greatly, and it's like moving forward is rough. Because as you come into this time frame, I'm getting like the 2 of Wands is saying that the choice is there, but then I'm feeling you're tied to both sides, and you're trying to hold it together. You're aware that a choice is in front of you, but you're trying your best to have your cake and eat it too, trying to like work it all out instead of choosing, just seeing if there's a different way to like compromise. Instead of going for the change, you're seeing if there's compromise instead of change. And I'm getting the next part here. I'm getting that like reinforced because you got the no card on your side. That's the no without the exclamation. I consider it the passive no. So I feel like you're trying your best to, instead of change, just compromise. Instead of like going a whole different direction, you know, maybe we can keep going the same direction, just edit it a little bit so it can still work out. I feel like that's kind of what you're doing. I don't feel like that's really an option. I'm not seeing that as an option. And I'm seeing like the Devil card comes in with this card. The strength. You're holding on. You don't want to change. You don't. You're seeing if you can compromise. It's interesting because when I'm coming at it from my own perspective, I'm like, that would make sense to me why you prefer to try a compromise. But I'm feeling like as this comes in, I feel like you realize that compromise really, it's kind of like if you're heading, if you're in between 2 cities, if you go left, you go to city A. If you go right, you go to city B. And you're already headed towards city A. And they're like, well, what we have to do is in city B. And you're like, how about we keep going to city A and we just do like a phone conference about that? And they're just like, I can't really do that. I have to actually be there. And you're just like, well, maybe we can do this. And they're like, that's not really an option. Like, I'm gonna live there in City B. Like, I can't call into my home and be like, I'm home. It's not gonna work. And you're just like trying to create a compromise where I feel like one doesn't really exist. But the other person or other people, whoever is a part of this, there's love coming towards you, definitely. And the trust I feel is there is because they're not seeing you really stopping them from doing what they need to do next. They don't see you stopping the show. They trust that you'll be on board when you need to be. I feel like they're just kind of like, they know your heart's in a good place. I feel like that's where this is coming from. They're just waiting for you to be on board with the situation. So even though you're trying to compromise and change the whole situation, I feel like the other people, whoever else is involved here you're dealing with, they see you for a good person, for a loving person. They know, they understand this Queen of Pentacles, Two of Cups love that you have for the situation, whatever's going on here. And they're just, I feel like they're like, you know what, I know that you're a good person and you want the best, and I know that's why you're doing this. I know that's why you're coming at this like we're trying to create a compromise. That's not really an option, but I feel like that's kind of like understood, and the other side's just trusting that you're just gonna come forward and move forward when you're ready. And I feel like this is where we're talking about that Queen of Swords energy, where I said you're sitting there, you know you got to move forward. You've kind of overcome the problem in the sense like you realize change has to happen, but you're like, I'm not getting off this throne till I'm ready, and I'll change when I'm ready. But I'm gonna sit here and enjoy the moment as long as I can. When I'm ready to move, I'll move. And you're not trying to be mean. I don't get that at all. I just feel like you like the situation the way it is, and it's just kind of hard to let it go. Now, Justice, I feel like this Justice is saying I feel like you're even saying, I know, the change is here. I get it. I'm going to do it when I want to. Yeah, I'll get around to it. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. Don't worry about it. The other side I feel like the Four of Cups is here because they're just sitting back and they're just like, okay. Like, I feel like there's a respect for your strength here. And I feel like they're very well, like, trying to push you is just not good for anybody. And I feel like they respect that part. Okay. Now, this next part is interesting because in your direct line of action, you have ask for help from others. I have to look at it for the love of Pete. And I feel like there's something going on here where you're just like, I just feel like you need a little help with the situation. For whatever reason, whatever's happening, you're dealing with it. I don't know, you might just have to talk it out or something like that. That kind of feels right. Like you might have to talk it out with somebody outside of the situation. Okay, this is more making sense now. Okay, I get it. So it says ask for help from others. I do feel like somebody outside the situation you're talking to. And I feel like just hashing things through, getting through the nitty-gritty of it, sorting out your feelings, accepting the change and starting to move forward. Because I feel like this is where the Three of Wands starts to show up. Because I feel like you're having a hard time with it, and you're just talking to somebody outside the situation just to get that fresh perspective. You're really hoping. I still, even though you've accepted it, I do feel you've accepted it. You're hoping you can run the situation by somebody else who understands, and they're gonna like give you some epiphany or some jewel of information. Like, oh, that can happen. I didn't know that could happen. Let me tell the others about this and see if this makes a difference. Like you're hoping for that moment. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't really think it's going to. But you're just like, you just need to talk it out with somebody who's not already in the situation. You just want to sort out your own feelings. You don't want somebody to tell you that's right, that's wrong. You just want somebody to listen, and you're just hoping somebody's going to be like, oh, well, there's this possibility that you didn't see yet. I don't really see that happening, but you're hoping for it. But I feel like as you're talking, actually the people around you, whoever you're talking to, is saying, you know what, you're just going to have to move forward. Like, the longer you dig your heels in, it's just going to cause more problems. And I feel like you're accepting it through that help. Now, for whatever reason, whatever the situation is, I don't feel like the other people are really excited about other people involved. And that's where I feel like the King of Pentacles on the outside here, like it's in the environment, that's resistance. I feel like that's some type of resistance. Like, they don't, whoever this is, it might be a they or a person, one of the two, obviously, but not liking that you're involving other people in this. No. I feel like that's this card feels like resistance to me. And not resistance to the change, not really. I feel like it's just like you might be getting a little guff about talking to somebody outside of the situation about the situation. Now, Taurus to me is a very dependable, slow mover. I think it's really good. It's slow in the sense of like making stable, thought-out decisions. Doesn't really just run and jump in the lake. We'll go up to the lake edge. What's in here? Are there rocks? What's in this lake? You know, is it safe? Am I gonna get sick if I get in this lake? Like that type of thing. Like, you know, am I gonna catch a cold? Like, is there too much algae here? What's happening? You know, and then. But Taurus, I've also noticed Taurus tends to look out for the people around them too. Like, all right, I don't know if I should jump in yet. You better not jump in yet because I haven't found out if it's safe yet. I'm kind of getting that energy with this read anyway. But anyway, I don't know why I'm going that way right now, but we're going to go back to this. The Temperance card, I guess I'm explaining this Temperance card. You're taking your time. You're moving forward. You've accepted it's time to move forward, but you're like, you know what? If I'm going to move forward, if we're going to do this change, then it's going to be done right, and it's going to be stable because I don't like change. I don't like this. Let's change it, but let's make it stable. It has to change, I get that, but let's make it a stable change. Because if I'm going to have to go through this, I want to know how it stands. I want to know this is where it is. Like, I want to know what exactly is going on and how I need to handle it. And I want it to be very secure so I don't have to worry about things going crazy and then I have to figure out what's actually happening. I want things to be bolted down where they should be. So the Temperance is here, and you're going forward that way. Now, I'm noticing the Four of Pentacles on the other side. There's a degree of control here on your side. I feel like that's where the Four of Pentacles is, because I feel like you're like, I get it, we're going to need to make changes, then let's make those changes, but we're going to make good changes. I'm not going to just, you know, go on a whim. And I'm not going to just go forward blindly. If you believe in these changes, if I'm going to be a part of it, you have to explain to me why you believe in these changes. Because I'm looking for stability. If we're going to do this, I'm not doing this every 5 months. We're going to do it, and I want to make sure it's stable and it's going to be good. It's going to stay. I don't want this constant variable swimming around in my life. Let's put it where it needs to go and just accept where it is. Now, that degree of control, I feel like that's where this Four of Pentacles is coming in. Because the other side just kind of wants, I feel like they just kind of want to, they just want you to go along with it, just do what they want. But I feel like you're demanding a little more information. You have too much love for this situation just to be haphazard about it. It's weird because as this goes on to the next phase, it's weird because you're on board with it, you're doing it. They're whatever the other side wanted, they're pretty much getting what they want, I feel. But I feel like it's because it's on your terms that there's a little bit of resentment there, just so you're aware of it. But I feel like you're making good changes. I just feel like if you're aware of that, like because it's, I feel like you have some ability here to put it on your terms, and you are. But for good reason. You're like, all right, we're going to make a change, we're going to make a stable change. Like, I feel like you're just very cautious and like, all right, let's make sure this is done right. And the other side just kind of wants to go through quickly, just make some changes. To you, these changes, some of them look a little haphazard, and you're just like, we're going to have to iron this out a little bit first. So I feel like that's what you're dealing moving on, but you're definitely moving on. I don't really see this being a problem, even though there's a little bit of resentment because of the control you have. I feel like you could weather that. I feel like you're okay with it. I don't really... when I say okay with it, like I don't feel like it's unexpected completely. You can handle it. I don't know if that comes across right. I hope it does, because I don't feel like it's... I feel like you're kind of like, you know what? This is going to be done right, and if you want to be a little cranky about that, then you're going to be a little cranky about that. But I'm going to make sure, if your stance seems to be, I'm going to be sure this works out right for you. I love you too much. I love the situation too much just to go about it haphazardly. I have to know what's going on. I have to be confident that everything's going to be okay. So I feel like you're more than okay with that. Like, if there's a little resentment, so be it. It'll work out. It'll still work out really well. Like, you're like, I can take it. I'll weather it. It's fine. All right, so I think we got to the end. That seems to be where that's as the change goes on. I feel like it's okay at that point. Like, I don't feel like that's anything really upsetting at that point. Good? Good. All right, so I got to the end. I hope that wasn't too confusing in the beginning. I'm sure people will let me know if it was. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. Thank you.